Stage fright is also known as performance anxiety. It's a natural response to the perceived threat of public speaking. But why, Kunle? Why does this have to happen to people? Hi, I'm Kunle. I train professionals and executives to deliver effective presentations to audiences of any size. Some call me the presentation professor, but I didn't start out that way. The first time I was in front of an audience, I crumbled like a pack of cards. The host had to come and collect me from the stage. There were hundreds of eyes watching, and you can imagine my agony as I was shoved away in shame. Fortunately, my story didn't end there, and that's because presentation skills are learnable. Fast forward to today, I now teach presentation skills to professionals, and this enables them to present their ideas, their projects, and their products with confidence and to accomplish their goals faster. I created the Presentation School podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you do the same. You, my friend, can sharpen your communication skills so that you can effectively present your ideas with confidence, whether you're presenting to one person or you're presenting to an audience. If you're an ambitious professional or one in the making who is looking to advance your career and your presentation skills, of course, you're in the right place because presentation skills are learnable. Let's get started. Welcome to the Presentation School podcast. In today's episode, we're tackling a common fear that many people face: stage fright. So whether you're presenting in front of a large audience or you're simply presenting in a boardroom or you're participating in an interview, stage fright, when it creeps in, it can be a crippling obstacle. Don't be afraid. We're here today to equip you with the right strategies and techniques to overcome stage fright and then to step into the spotlight with confidence. So let's get started. Did you know, by the way, that successful armies have something in common? It's called military intelligence. They go out, they collect information about their enemy forces, and they bring all this relevant information and factors back to their camp. With this approach, they now know what the strengths, weaknesses, and possibly operating plan of their enemy is. From that, they begin to make tactical moves against their enemies. But then again, you're thinking, Kunle, what does military intelligence have to do with stage fright? I'm glad you asked. I'd like you to think of stage fright from this day as your enemy. And you have to come up with military intelligence to make sure that you knock it down. And everything you know about your enemy will help you make a better decision. So let's get started. Your enemy in this case is stage fright. Let's have a look at how it operates. Stage fright is also known as performance anxiety. It's a natural response to the perceived threat of public speaking or performing or presenting. Why? Because it's a psychological thing. It triggers our bodies in a way that in this fight, flight, or freeze situation. But why, Kunle? Why does this have to happen to people? Well, I didn't want to talk about that before, but now that you asked, I guess I have to tell you. Now, stage fright or performance anxiety is indeed a psychological response that can trigger a range of physical symptoms, including sensation and what many people call butterflies in the tummy. And all these are symptoms of stage fright. Butterflies in the belly is the body's automatic nervous system responding to stress. You can imagine two people on a roller coaster, one person holding on for their life and the other person is saying, let's do this, and they're experiencing the same thing in the same environment. Physically speaking, everything is the same, including the butterflies in their belly. However, the way they're interpreting what's going on in their bodies is different. That, my friend, tells you that stage fright is not a life sentence. You can't be afraid of the stage today, but it can change. Now I hear you say, Kunle, you still haven't answered the question. Why do people experience stage fright? Well, This is not a 2+2 question. So because of that, we have to consult some professors and their schools of thought. So let's go to the evolutionary perspective, the school of thought that looks at it from an evolutionary point of view, the flight, fight, or freeze response. You see, stage fright is part of our body's ancient survival mechanism. This was crucial for survival in the wild, lions, leopards, and large lizards. If anything like that existed. But anyway, this is our natural way of dealing with them. We fight, we flight, or we freeze back then. But then when humans are now faced with a perceived threat, like a large audience, the brain activates what is called the sympathetic nervous system, preparing the body to fight, to flee, or to freeze. So those are the three things that happens. That's the evolutionary school of thought. Another school of thought is the social evaluation school of thought. Being judged by others could be a significant consequence for one's social standing within a group. And because of that, the fear of negative evaluation that can trigger anxiety in some people, causing them again to freeze, to flee, or to fight. There's another school of thought, the cognitive factors. And this is, again, self-evaluation. You're concerned about your fear of failure, how you perform well, and the anticipation of negative feedback from people. Another school of thought, again, is the attention bias. People with stage fright often focus excessively on their own performance and their potential mistakes, and this increases their anxiety level. So I feel for those people actually, because if they knew how little their audiences thought of them, they would just forget about that. You're there to present something to your audience. Forget about yourself. Focus on your audience. They're the reason why you're there. Not you, but them. Anyway, while we're here, I'll update you on how stage fright manifests physically in the body. The manifestation of stage fright in the body activates what is called the sympathetic nervous system. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, the adrenal glands release adrenaline, which prepares the body for immediate action. Of course, that leads to increased heart rate and breathing. With the increased heart rate and fast breathing, supply of oxygen goes to the muscles. And all these physical symptoms lead to what we call butterfly in the belly. This is caused by the redirection of blood flow in your body. Blood is diverted away from the digestive system into your muscles, preparing you potentially to fight, to flight, or even to freeze. This reduction in blood flow in the stomach causes the muscles to contract, leading to this butterfly in the belly effect. The next logical thing will be for sweat to break out in the body, and that cools down the body in preparation for physical exertion. That leads to people trembling. And after the perceived threat has passed, there's something called the parasympathetic nervous system. That is the rest and digest system. It helps your body to cool down and relax. Now that we've carried out a bit of military intelligence on our enemy, stage fright, let's get to work and knock this dude out. By the way, did you know that according to the National Institute of Mental Health, up to 75% of people experience some degree of stage fright at some point in their lives? As we now know, it's a physical manifestation that can show up in anybody. So let's look at techniques for managing anxiety. One of them is deep breathing. It's a powerful tool for calming down the nervous system. When you take slow, deep breath, you can activate your body's relaxation response. In case you're thinking, Kunle, come on, breathing and public speaking or presentation, what do they have in common? Well, according to a study published by the Journal of Applied Psychology, participants who practiced deep breathing exercises before a public speaking task reported that they had lower levels of anxiety. But you may say, Kunle, that's maybe in a controlled environment and so on and so forth. Well, check this out. Have you ever heard of the Navy SEALs? Well, They use specific breathing techniques to help them manage stress and remain calm in pressure situations. One of such techniques is called box breathing or square breathing, and this involves following a couple of steps. Number 1, you inhale for 4 seconds. You hold the breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 4 seconds, and then you hold your breath again for 4 seconds. This cycle can be repeated several times, and it helps you to induce a state of calm in your body and to help you increase your focus. The practice of box breathing helps to regulate the automatic nervous system, and it promotes relaxations and reduces physiological effects of stress. Here's a step-by-step guide for practicing box breathing. Number 1, find a comfortable position. Sit down or lie down in a comfortable place. Ensure that your back is straight and your shoulders are relaxed. Number 2, inhale. Slowly inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Focus on filling in your lungs with air. This is your goal. Within these 4 seconds, focus on filling your lungs with air. Slowly. Number 3, you hold your breath for a count of 4. That's the filled air you've inhaled. You keep it inside for 4 seconds. Try to remain relaxed and not don't tense up, just relax, okay? So that's it. You exhale slowly through your mouth for 4 seconds. And finally, you hold. You hold your breath again for 4 seconds. So that's why it's called the box breathing. Anyway, so it's 4, 4, 4, 4. What do you do from there? You repeat this cycle for several minutes until you feel calmer and you feel more relaxed and focused. As I speak to you now, I even feel a lot more relaxed after doing that. It works every time. Box breathing is simple. So simple some people don't believe it, but it's effective. It's a technique that's used by the Navy SEALs and many others to manage stress, to enhance their focus, and of course, to maintain composure in challenging situations. If it works for the Navy SEALs and if it works for Kunle, I'm guessing it should work for you. You might want to give it a try. There are other techniques that can be used to combat stage fright. Visualization technique, for example. This involves you mentally rehearsing your presentation or your performance. How you do this is you close your eyes and you imagine yourself speaking confidently and clearly to your audience. You picture your audience reacting to you positively, and by visualizing a successful outcome, you can train your mind to respond calmly and confidently in real situations. And there's another technique called PMR, which is the progressive muscle relaxation. You do this by relax your muscles progressively. It's a technique that involves tensing your muscles slowly and then relaxing them in different muscle groups of your body. This method can help you to reduce physical tension and then promote overall relaxation. So how you do this is you start by tensing the muscles in your feet. You hold on for a few seconds and then you release them. You gradually walk your way through your entire body, and then you end up with your neck and your face. That's where you complete or conclude that cycle. You could combine these techniques all the way. So I suggest for best result, try combining these techniques, but don't start all of them at once. Take one at a time. When you're good at it, you go to the next one, you go to the next one. That will be my recommendation. And of course, you're an adult, you can do what you like. So when you practice these methods regularly, it can help you manage anxiety more effectively. And of course, this thing called stage fright. So let's do a quick recap. We talked about deep breathing. You inhale, you hold, you exhale slowly. That's one way to deal with anxiety. Another way is visualization. You picture yourself successfully delivering your presentation. Another one, progressive muscle relaxation. PMR. You tense some muscle groups in your body from your feet to your face. And those three are a good start for you. By incorporating these techniques into your routine before you get to do a presentation, you can better manage anxiety, stage fright, and then you can approach your next presentation with a sense of calm and confidence. One of the most effective ways to combat stage fright is through thorough preparation and practice, of course. Whether you're speaking to a room full of executives or presenting a new project to your team, or you have a massive audience, being well prepared makes a big difference. So you first need to familiarize yourself with the material. The more you know your content, the more confident you will feel. And this means not just understanding the main points, but it also means you're ready to dive into the details of the thing. And another thing you can do is to rehearse your presentation multiple times. Rehearsing helps you internalize your material, and it helps you to identify areas that need improvement or that you can further develop. So repetition helps a lot. Another thing you can do is to anticipate questions. Think about what your audiences might ask and prepare your responses ahead of time. This not only boosts your confidence, but it also shows your audience that you're knowledgeable and you're prepared. You remember one of the episodes we talked about knowing your audience. When you know your audience, you can think about what their concerns or questions might be ahead because you walked in their shoes, and then you can prepare ahead for them. Here's a personal case study. The first time I stood in front of an audience, believe it or not, I couldn't speak. Everything we have talked about as far as stage fright or anxiety on stage goes, I experienced that. I opened my mouth, no words came out, my hands were shaking, my knees started to buckle, I fell apart like a pack of cards, and the host had to come back to collect me from the stage. Why did that happen? I tell you the truth today, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the content. I hadn't rehearsed. I didn't know anything. And then you ask yourself, Kunle, what were you thinking before you went on stage without being prepared? And the truth is, I don't know what I was thinking. Some stupid things we do in life, that was one of mine. From then on, I learned my lesson. The more prepared you are, the better your presentation. Trust me. I've been there, done that, and I have the t-shirt. So by thoroughly embracing preparation and practice, you will move the needle as far as your presentation goes. Of course, it's not just preparation and practice. You have to prepare the right way with the right things, with the right tools. It's not just, sit down, I've done a preparation. I'm assuming that you know how to prepare. And if you don't, get some help. So remember, preparation is not just about knowing your material. It's about building the confidence to deliver your material effectively. So you need to practice, anticipate questions, and then refine this as you go along. These steps will help you to overcome stage fright and, of course, to shine anytime you have to make a presentation. Let's wrap this up. In today's episode of the Presentation School podcast, we've looked into the challenge of stage fright, and we've provided some actionable strategies to help you get rid of stage fright. We started from understanding what the enemy is, stage fright itself, the psychological and the physiological roots of performance anxiety, aka stage fright. We understand that now. We know who our enemy is and why it operates the way it operates in our physical body. We looked at implementing practical techniques for managing stage fright. And now we've equipped you with a toolkit to boost your confidence and excel in any public speaking situation you may find yourself. And we've looked at techniques for managing anxiety. Techniques like deep breathing, for example. Exercise, we looked at one in particular called box breathing to calm your nervous system down. We also looked at visualization, which is to mentally rehearse your presentation to build confidence. And we looked at PMR, my favorite one, which is the progressive muscle relaxation. This is to reduce physical tension by tensing and relaxing muscle groups in your body, starting from your feet to your face. And we looked at confidence building through preparation. The more prepared you are, the more confident you will be. The more you know, the more confident you feel. This is not rocket science. It's just the way things are. Again, we talked about rehearsal. You need to rehearse your material time and time again. You can do that in front of a mirror. You can do that by recording yourself. I know someone who literally has stuffed animals on his sofa and is just turning it loose on them. I say poor old teddy bears. Anyway, again, you can anticipate questions from your audience so that you prepare potential questions and you're ready with the answers should your audience come to you with such questions while you're delivering your presentation. And in the final analysis, all you can do is all you can do. But everything we've discussed here today, if you decide to, you can do them. Remember, overcoming stage fright is a journey. For some, it's one time, for some it's long. But with consistent practice and preparation, you can transform anxiety into self-confidence. That's it for today. All I can tell you is, hey, stay tuned for more tips and techniques on how to improve your presentation skills. Until then, this is Kunle Rankon reminding you to keep your flag flying.